What if I told you there's this silent force, a kind of hidden structure that's governing almost everything in our lives? Well, in this explainer, we're going to learn how to finally see it.
I mean, it's a fundamental question, right? We all know people who just seem to get ahead, while others, no matter how hard they try, they just seem stuck on a treadmill, repeating the same mistakes. But what if the answer isn't about luck, or even just raw talent?
The core idea here is pretty wild, that reality itself has a structure, almost like a language. This language is what determines why some businesses take off, why empires fall, and why you personally either thrive or just stay stuck. And the thing is, most of us are completely illiterate. We can't read it at all.
And what's really fascinating is when you look at people who play the game at the highest level. Warren Buffett's investing, it's not just a series of lucky guesses. He's been reading economic patterns for decades. Elon Musk isn't just a gambler. He's incredible at spotting these tiny leverage points in massive systems that nobody else sees. And hey, this is not a new thing. Even the fall of the Roman Empire had clear warning signs, patterns of decay that were visible long before the end. They were just invisible to most of the people actually living through it.
So, okay, this brings the question right back to us. Could this be the hidden reason for our own struggles? The ones that keep popping up? Let's dig into what it actually means to be pattern blind.
So here it is. It's essentially a cognitive blind spot. We get so caught up in the what, the specific event, the immediate problem right in front of our face, that we totally miss the why, the underlying system that keeps spitting out that same exact problem again and again. And this table just lays it out perfectly. On the left side, you've got the reactive mindset. You see one-off events, you're constantly putting out fires, you're chasing the next shiny opportunity. But on the right, you have a totally different way of seeing. You see the whole system. You see the structure that's causing the symptoms, and you recognize the larger cycles that are at play. It's a total shift in perspective. Let's make this personal for a second. Does any of this hit a little too close to home? That feeling of just spinning your wheels? You put in more hours, but your income is just flat. Or maybe you find yourself in the same kind of dramatic relationship, just with a different person. Or that super frustrating cycle where you finally save up some money and then boom, some unexpected emergency wipes it all out. These aren't just a string of bad luck. And this is the absolute key, captured perfectly by the great systems thinker Donella Meadows. The problems we keep facing are rarely just isolated things that happen. No, they are the predictable results of invisible feedback loops, systems that are designed, often without us even realizing it, to produce exactly the outcome we keep getting. So what happens if we just don't learn to see these loops? What's the real danger of staying pattern blind? Well, it's actually a lot bigger than you might think. This right here, this is the heart of the risk. When you can't see the patterns that are governing your life, your reactions become predictable. And when you're predictable, you are so much easier to control, whether it's by market trends, social pressures, or big technological shifts you never saw coming. And these huge forces are always moving under the surface. Economies always go through booms and busts. New technologies are constantly making entire careers obsolete. Social structures are always under pressure. And the people who can't see these cycles coming are the ones who get completely blindsided every single time.
So this is the question you really have to ask yourself. When the next big shift hits, and believe me it will you have seen the signs and will you be prepared? Or will you be one of the people left reacting, just calling it another string of bad luck?
Okay, but here is the good news. There is a cure. This is not a life sentence. We can actually train our minds to see what was once completely invisible. So let's get into the solution.
This is the big breakthrough insight. This isn't some fixed trait that you're just born with. Being able to read patterns is a skill. And just like any other skill, it can be learned, it can be practiced, and you can master it. You can literally train your mind to see the world in a whole new way. So, how do we train it? Well, we start with 3 incredibly powerful mental models. Think of them like different lenses you can use to look at any situation and see the hidden structure underneath. These are your new tools for decoding reality.
The first lens is all about feedback loops. So instead of just looking at a result and stopping there, you ask a better question. What is the cycle that keeps creating this result? Is there a loop where, success just breeds more success? Or maybe a loop where one tiny problem just spirals and gets worse and worse over time?
All right, the second lens is second-order consequences. Most people, they stop thinking at the immediate effect of an action. But a pattern thinker, they always ask, okay, and then what happens? And after that?
They trace the ripple effects way out into the future to understand the true, long-term impact of any decision.
And the third lens, incentive structures. Oh man, this one is so powerful. You just have to look at any situation and ask, who benefits from this staying exactly the way it is? What behavior is the system, consciously or unconsciously, actually rewarding? If you can figure out the incentives, you can predict how people will behave with crazy accuracy.
Okay, so you have the lenses. Now let's actually put them into practice. Here are 4 concrete steps you can take, starting literally today, to begin curing your own pattern blindness.
First, track repetition. Just start a journal of the things that keep happening. The same arguments, the same financial stress at the end of every month. Repetition is the fingerprint of a hidden structure. Second, for any result you see, ask yourself, what system is perfectly designed to produce this? Third, study compounding. Really get your head around how tiny, consistent actions create these massive results over time. And finally, and this is a big one, shift your time horizon. Stop obsessing over the daily noise and zoom out to see the weekly, the monthly, and even the yearly patterns.
This quote just captures the magic of that last step so perfectly. I mean, up close, life can feel totally chaotic and random, right? But when you zoom out far enough, you start to see it, this elegant, predictable geometry underneath it all.
So what happens when you start to see that geometry? I mean, what does life actually look and feel like when you develop the skill of pattern literacy? The change is, well, it's profound.
You're just not putting out fires anymore. You're no longer constantly surprised by events or living in this state of just reacting to whatever life throws at you.
Instead, you move from being a piece on the chessboard to being the one who's designing the board. You become an architect of your own systems. You design your habits, your finances, your relationships to get the outcomes you actually want.
And ultimately, the world itself, it stops being this confusing, chaotic mystery. It becomes a readable text. You can see the forces at play, you can anticipate the shifts, and you can position yourself to navigate them with confidence.
So, that silent force, that invisible geometry of reality, it isn't going anywhere. It's always there, shaping everything. The only real question left is, will you continue to be governed by it without even knowing? Or will you finally decide to learn its language?